Hello, I'm Samantha and I'm going to talk you through this presentation which is all about CVs. Hopefully it will help you to create a CV that stands out and helps you to get through to the interview stage of any job that you wish to apply for. A CV is a short written summary of your skills, achievements and experience. Use it in the first stage of applying for jobs. Employers often ask for a CV instead of an application form, and you can do it on paper or online. It's your first chance to promote yourself to an employer. A good CV will get you to an interview. Use it to apply for advertised jobs or to introduce yourself to employers you might like to work for. They may have unadvertised vacancies. It's useful to gather together the information that you will need to write the CV before you start. Do not expect to write your CV in 10 minutes. It's something that is worth taking your time with to make sure that you produce the best CV you can. You can gather the information like the job advert, the job description, person specification, company details, your key skills, your qualifications, details about your past employers, details about your past or volunteering experience, evidence of your training courses that you might have completed. So it's important that you write your CV to match the job description and the company that you want to work for. In other words, make sure you highlight the information that matches what the employer is asking about in the job advert and the job description. If you don't have much information about the job, it might be useful to contact the employer to ask for further information, or you could use the job profiles on the My World of Work website, which will help you to tailor your CV and keep it relevant to the job that you're applying for. It's a good idea to have a CV which can be adapted to fit different jobs instead of having just one CV which you would use for all applications. You need to know your skills and qualifications, and we'll talk about that in a bit more detail a bit later on. You'll need details of past employment, volunteering, any work experience, and if you've attended any training courses, that might be through school, college, or any activity that might you've done in your spare time. So it's useful to have note of all these things before you start writing your CV. So there are some things that you need to put in your CV, so that every CV should have. And they can be put in any order that you want to suit your situation and the type of CV layout that you want to use. Generally speaking, CVs tend to follow a similar format, and there is a CV template for you to look at in the further information section, and you'll see that once you close this presentation. So here are some of the, all of the things that you need to include in your CV. So let's have a look at some of these things in a bit more detail. The first thing that you need to have is your contact details. You'll need to include your name at the top of the document, and there's no need to write CV or curriculum vitae there. You need your name, your full address and your postcode. Your telephone numbers, so it's important to have your telephone number on there. But if providing a telephone number with a voicemail, make sure that the message that someone gets when they call you and you're not able to answer is a sensible one. For example, hello, you're through to John's voicemail. I'm sorry I'm not available at the moment. Please leave a short message with your name and telephone number and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. The same goes for an email address. Make sure that it's a sensible one, not a silly one. If need be, set up a separate email address with just your name and your surname, and you can use that for job searching and applications. So that's just for using while you're looking for jobs. A personal profile is a chance for you to sell yourself to the employer and to highlight your skills and experience. Think about the job you want and what the employer would be looking for, and make sure that your profile makes you sound like you're the right person for the job. Use your key strengths. talk about those transferable skills that you have. And there are examples of personal profiles to help you create your own in the additional information section, which you'll see when you close this presentation. Again, it's really useful to know what your skills are before starting to create your CV. And there's 2 activities included in this program which will help you to do this. You may have come across them already in the looking at a job section. So these are identifying your skills and this is me. You could also use the About Me and Strength tools which are on the My World of Work website, and they'll help you to explore your skills and strengths as well. The next section is usually work experience and employment history. So include all your work placements, volunteering, as well as paid jobs that you've held. If you have extensive work experience, don't go too far back. So I'd say no more than sort of 5 to 10 years, and try to highlight the jobs which are most relevant to the position that you're applying for. So start with your most recent job and work back. Don't forget to say what the job is that you did, and include the dates that you worked there. And give a brief sort of outline of what the job involved, and give more information if it's relevant to the job that you're applying for. If you're applying for your first job, you can also focus on skills that you've learned through projects, part-time work, schoolwork experience, internships, placements, volunteering, those types of things. And there's a list of useful words and phrases in our additional information section, which might help you to describe your duties within a job as well. Next section is your education and training. And this section can be added after your personal profile or the key skills section. So especially if you're sort of early on in your career and you don't have much work experience. If you're older and have had several jobs, you might want to change the order and display your work history first and then your education history after that. Okay, so although this section is optional, it's a good chance for you to show the employer that you're a well-rounded individual and have interests outside work. Use examples that show that you have skills that are relevant to the job if you can. This section can be particularly useful if you have limited work experience. So references. You can include references, your referee details on your CV, but these days most employers will only ask you for these if they have picked you to go through to the interview stage. So in that case, you could just write references available on request. But it's really important to check beforehand with your referees that they are willing to provide a reference for you, and then that you have all their correct details. So if your employer does ask you for details so they can get a reference, you have the right ones to give them. Employers get lots of CVs to look at, and they have to decide quickly who they're going to interview. So here are some tips to help make your CV stand out for all the right reasons. You can watch the Skills Development Scotland video about creating a CV using the website My World of Work. This is included elsewhere in the Finding and Getting a Job section of this programme. Make sure that you've got all the information that we've discussed in this presentation before creating your CV on the website. The activities in this section will help you to understand better the need for a well-developed CV, and will help you to make sure your CV gives you the best possible chance of being invited to interview. The employability activity is a good activity to do if you've never had a CV before. The CV Builder is somewhere to keep all of your information in one place before starting to create your CV. And there are sample CVs, personal profiles, and useful words and phrases to help you word your CV in the additional information section, which you will see when you close this presentation. Please contact us if you feel you'd like help with anything included in this presentation. Good luck.